Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're excited to bring you the next games, which should be starting here shortly. It's going to be between Resurgence and the Mile High Club. Dreadnought's still refusing to bring out the fedora, but we're super excited about chatting with him today anyway. Don't forget to unmute yourself if you haven't yet.
Yep, I actually messed that up. But
Perfect.
no, yeah, I just the fedora. I don't know, man. I can't. I
You'll
just
bring it
literally.
back.
Yeah, it's gonna take a
You'll bring
level of
it back.
confidence that like in myself that I just don't seem to have today to bring it out. But slowly but surely, I do believe the fedora is coming back into the
Mhm.
meta, and I
Yeah.
will be at the forefront of it. Anyways, we are going to be going into the round of 32 here, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be again between Mile High Club and Resurgence. Resurgence being a name we definitely recognize here. We actually casted them last week as well. A really well-established team. They do have the draft out. We're going to be choosing the maps and everything else slowly but surely here. We'll be getting into it as best we can. But let's talk about what we saw in the drafts last game and what we think is going to come into play a little bit here when it comes to Resurgence and Mile High Club here. Where are the pros? Where are the cons here from Mile High Club's draft?
Well, I'll tell you what I think, but I also like to invite the audience to tell us what they think. Don't forget to be tweeting it at esports heroes with the hashtag HGC and visiting heroesofthestorm.com/esports. But in my opinion, we're going to be on Infernal Shrines, and it looks like the draft is actually starting. So I will tell you before the first ban comes out, I think we're either going to see a ban on Rhaegar or we're going to see a first pick Rhaegar. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the plan here. I don't think most of the teams are going to be venturing too far out here of that. And yeah, a lot of that comes down to what we were talking about before between Mile High Club and Resurgence. The prioritization of heroes are definitely going to have to shift, I think, a little bit here because Resurgence will punish them as fast as they can when it comes to some of the meta decisions, especially like the Rhaegar we see there. But Mile High Club instantly adapting, looking for that first ban Rhaegar, saying we don't want to be a part of that. I definitely would have liked to see them force Resurgence into that ban, but, you know, it looks at least they got rid of it. You know, if they weren't confident in playing themselves, at least they understand some of the adjustments they need to make, and they're taking a step in the right direction.
I do agree with you. I think that Rhaegar first ban is the most apropos pick that they could have made right now. I do think we'll probably see I was gonna say Zagara is my favorite character on this map. That my favorite hero on this map. As having vision on the shrines is so important. If she is banned out, I think the hover is gonna be correct. Yeah, Kael'thas is gonna be the first pick for Mile High Club.
I think it'll be
Wow.
Jaina Thrall.
Look
Jaina
at
Thrall
how
response.
Please.
Oh, Stitches.
Oh,
Okay.
I was going to say, yeah, you know what? If we see a Stitches, I'm calling it right now. Resurgence is going to bring out Tassadar. It's coming.
I agree. I think there will be a ban from the Mile High Club on Tassadar if they're kind of aware of that. If not, I definitely agree with you. I think we'll see Resurgence going with that Stitches Tassadar composition. It is just so absolutely powerful when it comes to he not only has good wave clear when it comes to the shrines, he also has decent wave clear when it comes to lane, great survivability, a lot of chokeholds on this map for his force walls, and he provides vision for his team, so it's going to be good there. And look at this Mile High Club. Look at them. They're hovering it. They're like, do we want to take this away from you? Are we going to give you that sweet Chuck Testa? Take it away. Say, nope, this Tassadar is going to be ours, and we're going to be able to play it against you. I do want to see them pair that with a melee assassin, though. If they do, okay, they lock in the
Super
Tassadar.
Sonya? No,
I
Diablo.
think Super Sonya or Thrall has got to be, it's got to be a must here when it comes to their comp. I fear they're going to lack a lot of damage if they don't use Tassadar to not only provide a little bit of soft damage, but also accent somebody who can put out a lot of damage when they have somebody kind of baby them, right? Like those melee assassins we talked about. But they're going to let it go through. Keep in mind that Tassadar pickup is also an answer to the soft counter of the Zeratul that is typically can be paired with the Stitches as well. You know, Stitches hook, Void Prison the team as they respond. One thing to look out for here when it comes to Resurgence draft now and the next couple bans here, Falstad. Really great Gus when it comes to the Stitches, something you typically see, good amount of poke. The Tyrande Owl is going to be banned out there, so vision-oriented composition, Diablo Tyrande going to be denied. But Mile High Club and Resurgence, if Falstad is not banned here, I think that it will be 100% a pick go-to for Resurgence.
You know what? I have a question for you. I'm going to give you a hypothetical here, Dreadnought.
Okay.
Your Resurgence. You've picked up Stitches. You have the intention to pick up Tassadar, but Tassadar is denied from you. If you are going to get the best possible synergy with Stitches, who's your next pickup? Are you going to pick up Malfurion and try and pull him onto the lawn? Or are you going to pick up an Uther and try and get the stun as they come in? Who are you going to choose?
I would definitely go, I think I would go Falstad in this situation, and then I would look for I'd probably go Malf, but I don't think he's forced to pick up here. I think Falstad and I don't know if I like a Sonya or if I like Sonya when there's a Stitches. I think Sonya is a good response here with the synergy with Jaina, the off tanking as well, or Thrall. I think both are still really strong picks, especially with the Zagara removal. Not as relevant on this map because the 1-4. It looks like they're going to move on a double tank. I don't know how I feel about that, but I definitely feel like Falstad or, like I said, one of the Sonya or Thralls are my kind of go-to, excuse me, if I was drafting.
Do you think I feel like Mile High Club has to pick up another support. We've seen Tassadar as a solo support before, but I don't think that you're going to be able to get away with a solo support against Resurgence. Resurgence has been playing together for a while now. If you watch Dreadnought when he's casting Divergent, we've seen them several times before. They played excellent last week. They did get knocked out in the later maps, which is why we're or in the later rounds rather, which is why we're seeing them again this week. But it wouldn't surprise me to see Resurgence make it, and they're going to start by picking up that Vala.
Yeah, the Vala is going to be a lot of good AoE damage there, and the slow provided as well. So I definitely like that pickup. I'm interested to see what Mile High Club does as a response. I feel like Malfurion is going to be that kind of off healer that they're looking for. Granted, Uther is still obviously really strong for them. Rhaegar off the table. So he's not going to be picked up here. But also Malfurion not only is a synergy pick that could possibly work for Resurgence, but more importantly, with Diablo, it's kind of like a pseudo Tyrande, and they win the very long team fights, which against that kind of Vala AoE burst, the Tranquility would provide a lot. But they say no. We're going to go with a Karazim, and we're going to go in the Murden double tank, double support composition. Once again, Mile High Club repeating the patterns they've seen early on, and Malfurion is going to be picked up for Resurgence. Only thing I find interesting here when it comes to the draft out of Resurgence, I like the Jaina Stitches answer. Totally awesome. I just don't know if I like the Johanna as the pickup. That's for the Shrines, right? So it's essentially she's going to get the wave clear on the Shrines. She's going to provide a lot to the situation to make sure that their team wins the Shrines. But the double tank is going to help Stitches stay alive. Just the Johanna Vala, I don't know if I would have gone for that specifically. But other than that, I think their comp is really strong. They have a good wave clear. They got a really good front line. They got a decent amount of damage, and they have an absurd amount of healing. Moonburn also going to be effective over these Shrines as well. Whereas Mile High Club, yes, they can face roll, stun, and do a lot of damage overall. It does feel like they might be a little bit susceptible to hooks at times if they're used properly.
I definitely did want to see some synergy there with the Stitches. I think we do see that in the Malfurion. You know, people used to joke about pulling people onto the lawn. It can be difficult to time getting the roots at the feet of Stitches as he gets the hook off. But I think if anybody can do it, Resurgence can certainly pull it off. And if they do manage to get that, there is a lot of follow-up there. If you're rooted in the midst of the team and Jaina manages to blow Cone of Cold Blizzard onto you, you're going to leave maybe in a body bag or at least with a lot of damage.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a lot of damage coming out from them. And the Jaina is going to be a really good follow-up for that hook. Malfurion as well. It's going to be interesting to see how he feels about Elun's Grace in these type of situations. His build is going to be something I definitely want to keep track of as this game moves on. But Resurgence going with a really good wave clear, really good damage, Stitches composition, something that we see a lot of the higher end, at least, I guess not so much higher end, but more successful reoccurring named teams.
Yeah.
Be looking towards right now, whereas it seems like the kind of fresh faces haven't been gravitating towards that Stitches quite as hard. But we're going to move here into game number 1, round of 32 between Resurgence and the Mile High Club here. And just purely off the draft, who are you going with?
Purely off the draft, I'm going to have to go with Resurgence. I feel like they have more damage in general. The Mile High Club does look like a very sustainy team. I don't know that the burst is going to be as strong, but it's definitely going to allow them to stay at the Shrines a little bit longer. Resurgence has that burst damage. They have the ability, if they catch someone out, if they get that surprise hook, I think we're going to see some astounding plays.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be I agree with you. I think Resurgence is going to have a lot of when it comes to their composition and the strength, but overall, I do give them the comp advantage. It's going to be interesting to see how Mile High Club decides to play this out against a more well-known team here with their double tank, double support style composition. I am correct in saying that they were the ones who ran that before, right? That wasn't Divine Nine. That was Mile High Club ran the Tyrande Lily composition in game number 1, right?
I believe so, but it is Resurgence that's going to be on the left blue side with Daihu playing on Stitches, Shot on Vala, Rixie on Malfurion, Killick on Jaina, and that's going to be Equinox on Joanna.
In the red trunks, we are going to have We're going to have, my High Club here. White Ice is going to be on the Karazim. He was the Zagara player, not the support in the recent past here, so that's going to be a big change. Neotep is going to be on the Tassadar. Mr. Sad Panda is going to be on the Diablo, and in the upper lane we have LOL, I'm a Wizard. Absolutely, once again, going to be on a Wizard, and then the NVL going to be on the Murden. So 5-man rotation from Resurgence here in the mid lane. Looking for that Hooker Rune if they can get it. Daihu being very patient here as long as he possibly can, and maybe a root follow-up here if he does end up landing that hook.
We did see a lot of mirror strats in the last series with people choosing the same engagements, the 1-3-1, for example. In this one, Resurgence does run more ganky combos where they're going to be running around and trying to get 4-man ganks. They still don't. They do a great job of not missing any of the XP because they're always rotating at the right times. But right now, this strategy is going to allow them to take out, I think, at least a tower at bottom.
Yeah, the 1-4 strategy with how much wave clear they have is always a really strong decision making. They don't have the best solo laner up top, but you see at the same time, Mile High Club isn't really capitalizing on the fact that he's in a 1 versus 2 situation. And because of that, you're going to see Resurgence back and forth. They see that 2 people are top, which is why they're prioritizing the front wall on bottom. You're going to see them finish off that turret and go for the other turret here. As long as they don't lose the XP, which the Knight takes pawn, that's going to be Neotepin's life as well here. Sadly, the hook back. Daihu is going to confirm the kill, and this is going to be a front wall on bottom. Resurgence coming out, showing why they are such a dominant team, why they've been doing so well in other tournaments, and why they're considered to kind of be the favorite when it comes to this matchup, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I do think that even up top, the ability of Shot as Vala to hold off a 2-person push, doing a great job of minimizing the damage that they're going to take up there. And even coming to mid here and getting eyes on LOL, I'm a Wizard, who is looking to maybe come up for the gank. Maybe the spider sense is tingling there. It does look like he's going to be able to prevent that, and still staying close enough to get that top soak as well.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Shot does look like he's going to stay up top for now. The talent tier advantage is going to be in favor of Resurgence for at least 3/4 of a level here. Knight takes spawn coming to play. You see the massive wave clear. Moonburn helping out as well. This is going to be a 4 versus 5 Shot trying to match the Murden, so it's going to be a 5-on-5, but the wave clear and talent tier is going to be in favor of Resurgence.
And it looks like there is a big engagement here. Mile High Club being very aggressive at talent tier down. It looks like Diablo's going to get caught out here, and he is probably going to go down. Yes, indeed. Murden, does he have the dwarf toss? It does look like he does, but he's still going to get picked off anyway. Choosing to engage a talent tier down, maybe not the best decision right now.
What he was trying to do, I believe the Murden was the aggressor there in that type of team fight. What he was trying to do is he knew that he beat Shot slightly in the rotation and try and get a pick before that. But keep in mind, they're a double tank, double support. They don't really have that kind of burst when their opponents mess up like that. So instantly you see Resurgence with their massive wave clear coming in handy there, walking away with this Punisher. And they're going to end up going with a 4-man rotation. Jodo spreading out, soaking the side lanes, and they're going to keep taking the support here. It's pushing in the lane. They got the front wall ready. So they're sitting very, very far ahead of their opponents. This 1-level lead is going to snowball what looks like to be a level and a half to possibly 2 before even level 10 happens if they keep playing as well as they have been.
Diablo did go up and soak 1 wave to make sure that they were able to catch up a little bit, but when you're taking out a fort, it's going to take a lot of soaking to catch back up if all you're doing is soaking a lane.
Yeah, and Equinox not able to dismount there to delay Diablo from soaking a little bit more, but they're going to walk away with a 1.5 level lead here. Resurgence playing their composition very, very well, making the rotations very crisp, really well done on their part, and they're going to try and keep snowballing their lead. Notice Resurgence, every time they get a talent tier advantage at any point, they're going to try and capitalize on the misposition of their opponents and not do anything too crazy. Shot kind of messing with death a little bit, maybe up there against the Diablo, but they see that maybe there's 2 people on top. They're going to take advantage elsewhere on the map, pushing their advantage, just never letting their opponent kind of take a minute to breathe, you know?
Definitely, and it looks like Resurgence even pushing the lead further to go ahead and invade and steal the camp there from the side of the Mile High Club. It seems like the biggest advantage here is Daihu playing with that Bikini Stitches skin, which has not been banned out and is not considered, game-breakingly overpowered right now. But I'm really liking what that Bikini Stitches is bringing to the game.
Yeah, no, the little floaty device that he has on him really separates him from his team.
Speaking of separated, Malfurion getting separated from his team and finding himself in a gravity lapse. LOL, I'm a Wizard, showing why he is the Wizard to be countered.
One thing to keep in mind here from Resurgence, what they've done really well with, instead of taking, they had 2 Merc camps pushing on mid, right? And they had a talent tier advantage. Instead of deciding to push mid front wall, which was the strategy I thought they were going to go with, they decided to back out. They're leaving this camp in the upper half. They're going to time it with the map objective because the Shaman camp is the strongest map in the game. And they painted the map blue pretty much. Rather than taking the front wall, they're saying we're going to get Mercs pressured while the map objective spawns, and we're going to gain our advantage more that way than we are taking out your front wall right away. I like this call from them. It's not a very common one, but it's honestly winning the race to 10 for them, and they're going to just sit here, play patient, let the Mercs do their thing, and hopefully make a bad rotation out of the Mile High Club here. Keep in mind the level advantage here, so it's going to be risky if this pushes closer to 10.
Mile High Club had a great gank set up there for Shot, but Shot taking the correct pathing to make sure he did not go out of the way. However, here, Diablo has managed to get him soloed out here. A lot of damage coming out for both teams. It does look like Mile High Club is taking the brunt of the damage. They are going to have to back off a little bit and get some heals, but the Resurgence does have an excellent lead here as Diablo continues to charge in.
Oh, that was a huge condemn there from Equinox. Maybe overextending a little bit. That is going to cost him his life. They're hitting that 5-man. But they only need 3 more gems here for Resurgence. They are probably going to be able to walk away. There it is with the poke. This is going to spawn and probably leap on one of them here. They're not going to be able to get a pick. But meanwhile, in the top lane, those Shamans did end up taking a front wall and forcing their lead even more. If that fight had gone any longer, even with losing that 1 target, it's not going to matter. And they end up getting a pick in the mid lane. Sorry. 4 versus 5. They're taking that fight. Diablo going in to try and save him as well, and he's going to go down. They now have 10 advantage. Expect a very hard engage from Resurgence.
Definitely. The great root from Malfurion is going to make sure that he's engaged as well, and that is going to be 3 kills back to back to back here. Resurgence doing a great job of exploiting that early level 10 advantage and really making the most of it.
Yeah, and there it goes, the stun again, and they're going to keep going in. The root's going to be the follow-up, and that's going to be a dead monk. It's just pushing their advantage as best as they possibly can. They are going to bait it finally over the wall here in a second. But a lot of that came down to the fact that Mile High Club was dancing with death here. Oh, beautiful gank on top. Again, forcing their 10 advantage. Really well done. Blessed Shield comes out, and that's going to be a dead wizard.
The timing is really impressive from Resurgence. You can tell this is a team that has played together. They know exactly what's coming out when. The shot calls from them have been really impressive. Astonishing play here from that Malfurion, who I think has landed every single root he's put down in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, he's done a really good job, and with the Loon's Grace, he's been able to kind of get a little bit more leeway when it does come to those roots, so good job from him, taking that talent and capitalizing it as best as he can. Really, they're just going to be in a situation now where they just wait till the level 13 advantage, try and fight before their opponents at 10, which you see them invading right now in order to do so. Smart call from them. If they do not get 10, there they are. They're going to just force this hard as they can, Josheb.
They are indeed. It looks like this is going to be a big fight, but they are forced to let it go. Here comes the ult from Joanna to try and secure. The hook does go out onto the monk, but fortunately a Radiant Dash gets him out of there. They do, however, lose that camp in exchange.
Yeah, and they're going to back out, paint the map blue. Resurgence just waiting for that 13 advantage. Smart job forcing their level 10 as best they could there. They've done a really good job capitalizing on that. And here you see they're going to paint the map blue again, doing the same strategy they did the first time when they were facing the map objective, or excuse me, when they were facing the first Immortal phase. They just backed out. They got every merc on the map, force their opponent to make a bad rotation and try and capitalize elsewhere when it comes to the map objective. Here you see they know that they're rotating the mid lane and they're trying to capitalize on the bottom half of the map.
You know, it's interesting. I'm looking at the engagement here, and it looks like Jaina has picked, again, similar to last game, complete Frostbolt build. I did not know that that's become so popular recently in place of the standard Blizzard builds, but it looks like she did put all of her all of her eggs into that basket.
It does provide a lot of damage post 13 if you don't need the survivability, especially with the Ring of Frost coming out. So it is a good go-to. Look at Equinox here trying to split his opponent's team to get an engage where they have an advantage. Smart job there. They do have 13 tier advantage. They have everything pushing in their favor as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually backed out and got the Shaman camp here, just because they have such a big advantage with this 2-level lead and a talent tier. They kind of get to dictate the pace of the map. Start the map objective, get all but one, then time it with the Shaman camp to get a double siege camp pushing in your favor. That might be a play we see out of Resurgence. Again, they make very aggressive shot calling and decision making as a unit, and that's something I can definitely see them pulling out here.
I think Daihu knows that they are here. He may be looking for an aggressive hook. Good Oracle there from Tassadar to give him full vision of what's going on. It looks like Shot is going to be the target. The Apocalypse does come out here, hitting a lot. Killick is going to be the first one to go down. However, they're going to get an answer on Diablo. He does have his trait, however. Lots of Avatar here damage going out onto Malfurion, but he overextends a little bit, and he is going to go down himself. Meanwhile, LOL, I'm a Wizard, trying to limp away, manages to get the great gravity lapse onto Equinox and does limp all the way back. It is going to be a 4-on-4, however, because Diablo is already back. It is 29-40, however, and that is going to be a big advantage for Resurgence for the remainder of this fight.
Yeah, they're going to just kind of reset a little bit here. They are split, though. That's really good job from I'm a Wizard realizing that and trying to capitalize. Shot
Oh, good body block on Shot here. Indeed, Shot is doing everything that he can. The Frost Shot there, making sure that he is going to be able to kite. Does an excellent job of getting into that smoke, but he is going to go down. Buys his team the time necessary to get the Frozen Punisher. 7-sided strike comes out. It looks like Diablo is going to go down here. He does not have his trade up. Muradin trying to help out. The Punisher goes onto white ice. It looks like he is going to go down, in fact, and good wall to try and stop the team, but Equinox doing a great job of slowing them here.
Yeah, and that was a really good job. Daihu with the zoning tool there on the body block's going to come into play here. Root coming out with the Elune Scrape from Rixie, and that's going to be 1 dead Muradino. It's going to be 4 people dead here in favor of Resurgence. The bait over the wall might lose the life of LOL. I'm a Wizard. It's going to proc right next time he shows next to the wall. It will leap over the wall. So I'm a little bit afraid for his life, but he's going to play safe. Careful, Diablo.
Diablo does get leapt on. He is going to get frozen and rooted here. That is going to be the quickest return to the Nexus we have seen so far today.
Yeah, and that a lot of it just came to underestimating when the proc phase of the leap out of the Punisher is. It's going to proc again in a couple of seconds if they do show, but it looks like this is going to be a keeper Resurgence and 16-tier advantage. They're going to look to force this fight and possibly end the game if they get enough kills.
Shot is back here. This is going to be a very difficult engage if Mile High Club tries to take it. Technically, they are down 2 talent tiers right now as they have not yet hit 13. They're going to have to let Resurgence have their way with this map right now.
Yeah, and an interesting thing out of Resurgence here, Daihu deciding to go with Pulverize at level 16 on Stitches, providing that his team gets a massive slow and decreasing the cooldown on his slam. So just trying to reapplying the slow rather than that fishing hook style, willing to take those direct team fights. What I would like to cover, though, is that false hope that happened during that shrine cap there. They ended up going 2 for 1 in that situation. Mile High Club, even being a talent tier down, still end up trying to take that fight in the upper half and killing Jaina almost instantly. That is because of the build style that she's gone with that Icy Veins that I was talking about with the Q build. It provides a lot of damage, but she is much more vulnerable. She did end up going down, but they lose the trade 2 for 1. By the time they responded to their opponents, it just was a situation where they just really couldn't take that fight without a chain bomb or even talent here, and so they kind of came in a little bit desperate and ended up costing them almost their whole team and that 16-tier advantage in the top keep there. So Mile High Club really needs to be looking for some major things here to come back in this game.
Indeed they do. And again, Daihu doing an excellent job of showing off the body of Stitches there in the Bikini Stitches outfit. I just want to bring more attention to how well he's been using that sand pail this entire game. So many good hooks, great follow-ups from Malfurion to make sure that we do get people onto that lawn. Equinox actually taking a lot of damage here, gets stunned out. It looks like this is going to be the engagement they decide to take. Really good preemptive Tranquility here is going to spell disaster for the enemy team. Equinox manages to stay up. Looks like this is a very even fight at the moment, and in fact Resurgence is going to start to back off here, although they do manage to get that final damage onto onto Muradin, and he does go down.
I'm surprised they actually decided to back out from that the way they did. By the way, Rixie really clutch heals on Daihu during that full 7-sided strike to keep him alive, and onto his positioning when it came to keeping Equinox alive through that chain bomb situation there. So really well done from Rixie on the Malfurion. But I was surprised with how likely they were to win that fight after the Trank went down. Their health bars all fine, and their opponents a little bit away from the core. I felt like they were going to push a little bit harder, but they say no, we're going to back out. We're going to get this next Punisher with our advantage, and we're going to look to force the fight when we get John Cena pushing with us as well. So Daihu and friends taking the safe route here, taking the safe plays, but really putting a commanding lead, again establishing dominance on the territory, showing why they are such a favorite team here.
And this is going to be an Arcane Punisher. It did catch a little bit of a nerf in that last patch. However, I still think of the 3, it is the most feared of the Punishers. John Cena looking super intimidating as he marches to the ring, and I am feeling bad for the Mile High Club who have to defend against this.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard. What they can do is they can actually bait it towards mid-keep. Watch Diablo in their positioning. If they stay to the left-hand side, it doesn't look like they're going to try and bait it, sadly. They could get it to the keep rather than the core, so now the Arcane is going to be on the core, and this is going to be a rough defending situation. Great hook.
Fantastic hook. It does look like Tassadar is going to be able to get away. There comes the 7-sided into Apocalypse. The ring comes out as well. The root does manage to get onto Diablo. Diablo is going to go out, and that looks like it's going to be a 4-man clear. LOL, I'm a Wizard is the last one alive, but John Cena off the top rope does manage to get the big elbow, and he goes down.
Yeah, pulling the rope-a-dope there to lock in the final 5-0 wipe and the game for Resurgence. Good job from everybody on Resurgence. Really well done in that last team fight, and they played that really well. I don't know if I'd say I was surprised by the result. Like I said, they've been such a dominant team against some of the new ones here. But one thing that I feel like was really impressive from Mile High Club when it came to that game was a lot of it was their adaptation when it came to draft. I think that kind of showed that they are a team that is willing to try and make those adjustments to come back and win a game. And if they do the same when it comes to this next, I think they have an opportunity to walk away with a win. It is going to be difficult again, just from the I guess, how do I say this, the power coming out of the roster from Resurgence, but ultimately, Mile High Club, if they are showing to be adaptive like they have between set 1 and set 2, I do think they might have an opportunity to walk from the games here. Really good job from Resurgence. Interesting builds and decision-making a little bit across their board when it came to their comp, but they're just going to walk away with a really convincing win.
I definitely agree with you. I think that Resurgence is a team that's been playing together for a long time. I've kept up with them for a while. I'm wondering if going into this next draft, if we don't see a respect ban for Stitches. Stitches, even last week being such a playmaking character in the right hands, there's so much momentum swing that you can get from landing a great hook. And I think that Mile High Club saw that firsthand more than they would have liked in this particular game. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Respect Stitches ban in the next draft. But they may have to give up a Rhaegar ban for that, which would give Resurgence an even bigger advantage. I'm really interested to see how the next one plays out. I think we saw a great draft from both teams. Resurgence just a little bit better at the execution side, knowing when to make those aggressive rotations. But Mile High Club is not out yet. We still have game 2 to go to.
Absolutely. They definitely have an opportunity to make the comeback here, and I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if they were able to do that. I'd like to see them pull away from the double tank, double support. I don't think that it's a terrible choice, but I think that it becomes a little bit too predictable in their draft and a little bit too easy to counterplay when they face an opponent that is possibly a little more, a little more experienced than them, like a kind of a veteran-oriented group where they know how to deal with that. Okay, well, they face Rollis really on. We need to draft around it. For instance, the Malfurion's a great pick against that style comp because you don't have enough damage to outburst the Malfurion, but at the same time, you don't win the sustained fight either because he's so good at sustained fighting. So, like, things like that Resurgence understands and drafts well around to give them a kind of a lead when it came to the draft on that last game. I very much think that if they pull away from a double tank, double support, that we might see them, like I said, be able to walk away from a win. I do have the draft link here, though, and I got to get it to you, Josheb, really quick. And we'll be moving into game number 2 here.
I definitely think that, as you of all people are aware, that a lot of times supports are the unsung heroes in these games. It's a lot. There's nothing flashy about, making the green bar go up. So it's a lot harder to notice. I did note in that last game that you were very on point as far as noticing Malfurion's excellent use of heals there. His tranquilities were well timed. He managed to make sure that the momentum for his team stayed aggressive by keeping everyone up. There were several times where a lesser healer would not have been able to keep them up through the damage that his team was receiving, but really spot on heals from that Malfurion in that last game.
Yeah, Rixie did a really good job, and it's probably unfair because being the year's worth of competitive healer that I played, I guess I feel like I'm probably a little bit more hypercritical on them, so I notice when they do good and bad probably more than most people. So, but yeah, no, he definitely had some really good plays there, and the capitalization of Alun's Grace as well. We touched up on his roots were very, very well done. His tranks were almost never poorly timed, and his healing, even without that rampant growth at 4, was able to walk away with keeping people alive during heavy amounts of bursts, like that Stitches during the 7-sided. So yeah, again, really well done from him. And the only situation he didn't really keep somebody alive, and I don't know if I put it on him, was just that one heavy burst in the upper half of the map against the Jaina. But I mean, really, was that his fault? Probably not. It was just a misposition there on Killick's end, and it really didn't cost them too much just because of how far of a lead they had. Well,
again, Killick chose the all-in aggressive style Jaina, choosing to take Icy Veins instead of Ice Block. I did notice, I knew that Rixie would fall on your good Malfurion side because I checked his 13 talent and I did see that he chose Ice Block. Anytime we see a Malfurion, the first thing I do is make sure that they pick up Ice Block, because I know how badly they're in for commentary if they manage to choose the other tail instead.
Oh man, if anybody's watched my stream, you know how I feel about